The manhunt for escaped inmate Grant Hardin has entered day 5. Lauren Spencer is live in Calico Rock with the latest on where the search stands this afternoon. And 2 firefighters accused of stealing thousands of dollars from a local city. We'll have more on the charges that they're facing.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Well, hey, good afternoon. Happy Friday Eve. Thank you so much for joining us on your 5 News at Noon. We're here with meteorologist Danny Cassidy. Danny, unfortunately, it looks like things might get busy here in the next few hours.
Yes, thankfully things have trended down a little bit for rain, but if it does, it could be a little bit on the messier side. So we'll talk about that here. We'll show you what's going on across the area. We're seeing that it's just mostly cloudy, really. There's no rain going on right now. A lot of low-hanging kind of cumulus clouds there. But what we're watching is off to the west is where we're seeing maybe potential redevelopment. So right now, not a whole lot going on across the 5 News viewing area. You see maybe a couple of isolated showers now passing to the east. There's kind of a little bit of a cold front right near the Tulsa area here. They'll have to see that if we get some lift, maybe we could see some isolated storms that if they're kind of by themselves could see some heavier rain, maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. Not expecting widespread severe weather, but it's just something we're keeping an eye on. So as we head through the next or just through the rest of this afternoon, I should say, in the evening, I think about, I'd say 3 to 6 o'clock for northwest Arkansas would be the most likely time to see this, with temperatures in the low 70s. Then once we hit kind of right past sunset, then I think things quiet down for northwest Arkansas. The river valley will be a little bit different. I think it'll be more towards the later afternoon into the early evening, and then it'll still hang around a little bit for far southern areas until about midnight, and then that thing will kind of taper off a little bit. In terms of rainfall, we'll see maybe up to a 1/4 inch, but many areas might not see any rain at all. So again, it's very hit or miss, but if you do see rain, we could see a little bit. But again, we'll talk about the exact time frame of this rainfall, where what could happen coming up in your full forecast. Tiffany?
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, the massive manhunt for escaped inmate Grant Hardin is entering its 5th day. The former Northwest Arkansas police chief was serving a prison sentence for murder and rape when he escaped from the North Central Unit in Calico Rock on Sunday afternoon. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer is live in Calico Rock with more on the search. Is there any updates today, Lauren?
Yeah, Tiffany, the latest update we've gotten is authorities are now offering a $10,000 reward to anyone who has any information on escaped inmate Grant Hardin, who people now know as the Devil in the Ozarks. Authorities say they did expand their search, but they still could believe he could still be close by. ADC says that they've received a tip from Faulkner County regarding the escaped inmate, and search teams responded to Faulkner County to investigate. The tip said the possible sighting was in the area of Highway 65 and Candron Bridge. However, they said the sighting was on Sunday and it wasn't reported until Wednesday, and they're still investigating the credibility of that lead. This has been an interesting time for the community of Calico Rock, which is normally a pretty small fishing town with a population of around 2,000 people. There's now a large police presence here, checkpoints across the county, and it's making some wonder how long this could last. Authorities say the terrain has been somewhat of a challenge. This is a rural area with plenty of places to hide, like barns, caves, and abandoned structures. As of yesterday, ADC told us they didn't have any strong leads on this case, so this one in Faulkner County could be maybe one of the first. We're not sure just yet. They say that they're still working around the clock to try to capture him. Live in Calico Rock, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, thanks for that, Lauren. Well, here is another look at the photos that authorities have shared of Hardin. They say he should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. Make sure to download our free 5 News app or follow us at 5newsonline.com as we keep track of this manhunt. There, we'll bring you the latest updates throughout the day. Well, the founder of a Springdale-based nonprofit is facing new charges related to allegations he stole money from donors. Jason Carney was back in court on Wednesday. He and his wife Lacey were first charged in an indictment filed in January. A new indictment filed this month increases the number of charges that Jason faces to 20. They're both accused of using hundreds of thousands of dollars donated to their organization to fund their personal travel and buy luxury items. Second Milk was created back in 2015 with the goal of using donations to help malnourished infants in Africa. They're both set to go to trial this September. Well, 2 Washington County firefighters are accused of stealing over $8,000 from the city of Johnson. The city of Johnson's now former fire chief, Chance Wright, and Springdale firefighter Brian Copeland have both turned themselves in to law enforcement. Copeland is on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. Wright is accused of putting Copeland on the Johnson Fire Department payroll for hours that officials say Copeland never worked. Investigators accused both men of pocketing the money.
It was discovered by other fire department members in Johnson seeing a time card with Brian Copeland's name on it and some times that they worked, and they knew Brian and they knew that he wasn't working at that time.
Wright's charges include abuse of office and theft of property, which are Class C felonies. Copeland has one charge of theft of property. If found guilty, they could face up to 10 years in prison. In other news, President Trump has pardoned a former Arkansas state lawmaker. According to CBS News, Jeremy Hutchinson received the pardon. He was convicted on bribery-related charges and was sentenced to 4 years in prison in 2023. He's the son of former U.S. Senator Tim Hutchinson and nephew of former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. Well, happening now, a fundraiser lunch for Sebastian County deputy who was stabbed in the chest by a convicted murderer who was in jail. Deputy Marr restrained the subject before he was rushed to the hospital where he underwent life-saving surgery. Right now, the Sebastian County Sheriff's Office is holding that luncheon in hopes to raise money for Deputy Marr. He is good until this will be happening until 1 this afternoon across the street from the jail, and that's happening on A Street. Also happening right now, a fundraiser for a road department crew member who lost their family home in a fire. Now, this is happening right now until 1 at the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Now, they are serving chili for lunch for $10 a plate in hopes to raise thousands to help benefit that family. Well, President Trump's sweeping tariff strategy has suffered a major legal setback after a federal trade court ruled most of the taxes he sought to impose on imported foreign goods are illegal. CBS's Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
The Trump administration says it will appeal after the Court of International Trade ruled the president overstepped his authority in enacting sweeping tariffs on nearly all trading partners.
These activist judges are trying to slow down something right in the middle of really important negotiations. I'm sure that when we appeal, that this decision will be overturned.
The new ruling applies to the administration's 10% baseline tariff on most trading partners and the separate tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada related to fentanyl and immigration. It does not apply to tariffs on specific products, including autos, aluminum, and steel. But analysts say it could impact trade negotiations underway over the president's reciprocal tariffs, now on pause until July.
The story is not over yet.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says despite the ruling, small businesses impacted by tariffs are still in wait-and-see mode.
I think it does nothing for businesses because I think what happens is we are still operating under a cloud of uncertainty.
This latest legal fight comes as lawsuits surrounding the Department of Government Efficiency continue to play out, and as President Trump's advisor who led the effort is leaving his post.
In a post on X Wednesday, Elon Musk said he would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. In an exclusive interview with CBS Sunday Morning, he criticized the president's tax cut and spending bill that narrowly passed the House 1 week ago.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit.
As a special government employee, Musk could only serve the administration 130 days in a calendar year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, immigrant justice groups and community members are demanding an end to ICE arrests at courthouses across the country. They say these actions create fear and undermine due process for everyone attending those hearings. In San Francisco on Wednesday, dozens gathered after 4 asylum seekers were arrested while attending court, sparking outrage and fears of future detentions.
These are people in an active pending court proceeding. Were being arrested and detained, taken out of San Francisco, moved to a detention facility in Central California, and now the government is trying to say that they do not deserve the chance to have their asylum case reviewed by an immigration judge.
Immigration attorneys say that these tactics are unprecedented and violate due process. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security maintains that it is enforcing the law targeting recent arrivals without valid asylum claims for expedited removal. Well, the once hot housing market in places like Florida's Gulf Coast is now struggling. As Christian Benavides explains, a combination of factors is making it difficult for homeowners to sell.
Florida resident Darlene Strange has been trying to sell her mother's home in Fort Myers since November of last year.
Is it disheartening Yes, it is. Makes me wonder, is it ever going to happen?
Here's the second bedroom.
Realtor Angie Ramos says at least 6 of the properties she has listed have been sitting on the market for far too long.
We've seen a lot of price reductions. Things are selling, but not as quickly as, as one would want to.
In Southwest Florida, inventory's up. House prices are down year over year, and it's not the only market seeing a slowdown. It's an about face for regions that recently saw houses selling at record highs, particularly across Florida and Texas.
It was moving right along. I mean, like one thing after another. I mean, we were selling.
Cape Coral, Florida had the biggest price drop in April year over year, followed by Northport, Florida, Austin, Texas, Tampa, and Lakeland, Florida. Still, high interest rates, skyrocketing home insurance, and elevated listing prices are among the reasons inventory isn't moving. Strange needs to sell this home to pay her mother's assisted living expenses.
How much longer can you afford to not sell this house?
Yeah, that's the problem. We're getting into the point where if something doesn't happen within the next year, it would be a scary situation.
While the spring buying season got off to a slow start, it's become a tale of two cities. In parts of the Midwest and Northeast, the housing market is still highly competitive, with home prices on the rise. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Fort Myers, Florida.